Let's start feet hip width apart and parallel, both feet pointing straight ahead. Hands on hips. And we're going to begin with some calf raises, lifting the heels and lowering. Inhale as you rise. Exhale as you lower, and try to find a nice, steady, rhythmical breath that works in time with your movement. Breathing in as you lift, breathing out as you lower. Big toes down into the ground as you rise, trying to stay big toe, even if your foot tries to tip itself over, pushing that center section of your foot back down into the mat. Calves lifting as your heels rise, inner knees lifting, inner thighs lifting. Let's do a couple more. We want to see if we can get this work to go right up into the hamstring and maybe also a little bit into your glute as well. Let's do 4 more. And 3. And 2, and then we're going to stay up on this one. So we're going to rise and hold and stay here, and then do little knee bends and heel drops. So it's kind of like marching out on the spot in our high heel. A nice steady breath. Let's have a couple more. One more deep breath in and out. And then lowering the heels back down, give your knees a little bend to give your calf a little bit of relief. And then you're going to take your right leg and step it back out behind you. Hands are still on your hips if your hands are comfortable in that position. And then it's a calf raise back there, pushing your big toe into the ground to lift your heel and really stretching your heel back down into the ground to stretch both the calf and the Achilles tendon. Couple more. And then we're going to do a balance challenge. Let's have this as your last one. And then on the next one, we're going to take that calf raise and continue it all the way through into a knee float and then put it back out behind you. And then we're going to just repeat that. Trying to find our balance. A body that doesn't respond. Trying to find our balance every time we lift our leg. So yeah, a little bit of wobbling is okay, as my body so kindly just demonstrated. And rising and placing. Let's have 3 more. Two. And then bring that foot back underneath your hip and knee bend. And those knee bends are going to become double knee bends. So it's going to be bounce, bounce, straighten. Bounce, bounce, straighten. And then as we straighten, we're going to take our arms overhead. And as we do our double bounce, we'll let our arms swing. So focusing on big toes pressing down into the ground. Ankles folding, and as our arms reach up, breastbone lifting, and an inhale. Let's have 4 more. Really trying to work those ankles and soften any tightness around the front. Last one. And then let your arms come all the way back down to your hips, and we step back off the left leg. And from there, calf raises off that back leg. Pushing the big toe into the ground, feeling how that can create a contraction around your Achilles tendon area, the back of the ankle, the lower calf. And then we have to really stretch through the calf to get the heel back down. Okay, here we go into our balances. Hopefully I won't wobble too much this time. Finding a spot for your eyes to fix on can really help keep yourself balanced. And just checking in with your feet and noticing what your body's getting up to as you try to find that central balance point. You want your big toe to be strongly connected to the floor rather than the outside edge of your foot. We're working the inside edge, and your body might choose to argue with you a little bit, and that's okay. Let's do two more. Ooh. And last one. And then you'll bring your foot down, and we'll heel toe into a wide stance, and then from here into some wide leg squats. You can take your arms to your shoulders and reach up as you drop down into this wide squat. Your knees are going to reach out to the sides. Your knees are also going to try and stay open. And as you drop and inhale, to help hold you up in good posture, breathe in and it will lift your breastbone. Let's have four more like this. And two. And one. And then hands on your hips. Heel toe yourself back in. And let's take a roll down. Bring your chin to your chest and fold forwards all the way down towards the mat. When you get down here, try to let your arms dangle and your head. And it feels like everything falls out the top of your head. And then rolling all the way back up to standing, tailbone under. Head's the last thing to come up. And then both arms will go up to the ceiling. And then from here, we're going to circle the arms around, let them rotate, and let the back of the hands come to your low back. And then out to the side, and the palms come to the back of your head. So we're just going to keep repeating that. Fingers to your low back. Palms to the back of your head. And hopefully you can see me okay in the mirror. And you can see that I'm putting my hands right in the small of my back. And there's a reason for that. I'm going to be using my hand placement to help activate my core. So when my hands find that spot, I'm going to draw the bones towards my own hands. And then when my hands find my skull, I'm going to draw my skull towards my hands. So I've got two moments where we use the hand placement to help us find ourselves. I'm going to inhale as my arms rise. And exhale as my arms lower. I've got two more like this, and then we're going to do one arm at a time. It's quite a long arm set on purpose to try and unstick any stuck soft tissue. Okay, so those arms are going to come to your low back. Your left one will stay there, and then your right arm is going to go on its own. And you're going to see if you can let your arm bone really roll in the socket. Rotate as it comes back down, and then rotate as it goes back up. And let's take an inhale as the arm rises. And an exhale as it comes back down. Inhale, let your lungs widen. Exhale, and let it come back down. Let's have two more. Inhale, the lungs widen. Exhale. And last one. And then we'll swap the arms over. And now your left arm will go. Using your hand placement on your low back to help keep your core active. The bones of your low back pushing up and back into your own hand. Big toes pressing down. Inner thighs lifting. Low tummy lifting. Low backbones lifting. Exhale the arm down. There's a lot of things to do. Inhale the arm up. Exhale the arm down. Lungs widen as you inhale the arm up. We've got two more. We're nearly done, but not quite. Okay, so keep that hand behind your head, and now both arms are going to go at the same time. And hopefully you can see that, okay, in the mirror behind me. I've got one hand coming to the back of my head and one hand to my low back. And I have to rotate my arms around the sockets to get free and easy movement. I'm picking one motion for the exhale and one motion for the inhale. Let's have four more. And 3. And 2. And 1. Keeping your hand behind your head, bringing the other arm up to meet it. We now have a thoracic circle. We go over to one side and then we flex forward a little bit. We go over to the other side and then we extend as we come around the back of the circle. Side, flex, side, extend, side, flex, side, extend. Let your eyes help you. Side, and then the eyes look down. Side, and then the eyes look up. Change direction and go the other way. Looking down for the flexion. Looking up for the extension. Letting your head press into your hands as you extend. And also inhaling as you extend, and let the lungs widen as your eyes rise. 2 more. And last one. And then we're going to be here in the center and we're going to do a flexion just of their upper back, and that's all. And then the eyes look forwards, and then we look to the ceiling, and then the eyes look forwards, and then we look to the floor. Eyes look forwards, look to the ceiling. Eyes look forwards, look to the floor. Two more like this. And then we finish off with our eyes looking forward. So here we are. And then we're going to take our arms right up to the ceiling. Reach for a moment, even though they feel heavy and tired. And then circle them around the back. Clasp your hands together. Pull back into a pec stretch. 2 or 3 breaths here. And let your filling lungs push your shoulders open. So your chest will get wider. And your collarbone corners will get further apart. And your shoulder blades might slide towards the center line. And then let your arms have a little shake. And we're going to rotate the body so it is aligned with our right leg. And then we're going to do a roll down with our body rotated around to the right leg. You may not be able to get as far with this as you normally do. Just let your body go where it wants to. It's okay to bend your knees a little bit if you need to. Roll all the way back up. Straighten your body to the center. Take both arms up to the ceiling. And then let's bend your right arm down. Tricep stretch. And then take both arms back up. And bend the other one down. And back up. Circle your arms around. Give your arms a little shake by your sides. Rotate your body to your left leg. And roll down. Inner thighs lifting, low tummy lifting. And then tailbone under and rolling all the way back up again. Center your body, and let's take another one of those arm circles just to help us stay centered and find ourselves. Pec stretch before the next balance. Okay, hands on hips, weight onto your left leg, a little bit of a point out to the side on that right leg, and then we're going to lift and lower. And if you find it easier to balance by taking the opposite arm out to the side, that's completely fine. So you should feel the work most likely on the outside. And you're going to stay strong in your standing foot. Keep your breastbone lifted and your eyes out at a fixed point. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And then bring your legs back together, hands on hips. We've got a tight or close leg squat. So you bend your knees and straighten. Working the inner leg now. Squeezing the legs together as you bend. Your feet flat on the ground. It is completely fine to use something stable and close, like a heavy piece of furniture, to keep yourself balanced if you need that. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pushing your legs straight, separating the feet, putting your weight onto your right leg now, pointing the left, leg lift. And you can use that reaching opposite hand to help with your balance if you need to. Oh, this one feels harder than the other side. Big toe pressing down, inner thigh lifting, low tummy lifting, fixed eyes. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your legs a little shake. And then I'm going to turn side on so that you can see what I'm up to. And then we're going to take a roll down, chin to chest, and fold forwards towards the floor. Let everything feel like it falls out the top of your head. And then you're going to bend your knees and straighten them. So we tuck the tailbone under, round the low back, and soften the legs. And then we push the feet down and straighten the legs. Bend your knees and soften. Push your feet and straighten. Tailbone under, bend your knees and soften. Push the feet and straighten. Last two. Last one. And you're going to bend your knees and come down into 4-point kneeling. And begin just with a cat stretch into neutral pelvis, neutral spine, and maybe a touch of extension. Pushing down through your hands to get your cat stretch. Letting the pelvis roll through. Neutral pelvis, neutral spine, maybe a touch of extension. That. And we're going to take this cat stretch and hold it and add in an angry cat. So we push our hips back towards the heels, but I'm still high above my heel. I'm not sitting. I'm trying to tuck my tail under. I stay back here and I roll my pelvis through into flat back. And then I track back forward, 4-point kneeling. Cat stretch. Angry cat. Roll the pelvis. Track it forwards. Cat stretch. Angry cat. Roll it through. Track it forwards. Last one like this. Angry cat. Roll it through. Track it forwards. Then you're going to walk your hands forward to a half plank. So it's not that much of a walk. Take the knees back a touch. Bring your hips down and you're now on a diagonal with your body, knees, hips, head. Hold the plank. Keep your hands exactly where they are and sit back into a child's pose that you have to stretch to get to. Your hands will want to move. Try to keep them still. Keep them stuck where you put them. Roll it through. And then flatten everything out into the plank. And then sit it back, hip hinge into your child's pose. Tailbone under and roll through. And then sitting back into child's pose. Okay, on this one, we're going to roll it through into the half plank and we're going to hold and stay there. And we're going to do a couple of elbow bends. It doesn't need to be that deep. You can have small, shallow elbow bends if that suits. Let's have 4. And then you're going to sit back into your child's pose. The hands and the knees do not move. They stay put. And we roll through between their spacing. 4 push-ups of your choice. They can be deep ones that go right to the ground or shallow ones that just dip the elbows. Sit back. Roll the pelvis under. Roll the spine through into neutral flat back. And 4 push-ups. And sit back. Here's your last set. Tailbone under, roll it through. Half plank. And 4 push-ups of your choice. 2. And 1. And then sit back for that final time. And then when we come out of this into 4-point kneeling, we're going to bring the hands back underneath your shoulders, the knees back underneath your hip. Check that we've got space behind us to move the leg, hitting anything. And then we're going to start by forearm to hand, marching out. So my right arm is leading, and I go down, down, up, up. Forearm, forearm, hand, hand. One more set like this. And then change direction. So it's left down, left up, right up. Forearm, forearm, hand, hand. Forearm, forearm, hand, hand. Last set. And then we're going to finish down here on your forearms and stay there. Bring your legs a little bit closer together. And take your right leg and slide it out behind you. And then lift it and lower it. So working on the straightness of that leg. Feeling the knee that you've put on the ground, pushing the ground. And trying to get your leg as straight as you can when it goes out behind you. Hip level, if you can find that. It's quite difficult to find it without a mirror, to be honest, or without somebody showing or telling you. So just doing your best. Let's have 4 and 3 and 2, and then hold it up here. Hamstring curl in and out. And again, level pelvis. So if I've got my right leg up in the air, my right arm should feel pretty heavy on the floor. My left arm not so heavy. And 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Hold here, donkey kicks to finish, pushing up with that leg to the ceiling. Let's have 4 and 3 and 2 and 1, and then bring that knee back underneath you. Sit back into a child's pose to rest. And then you're going to lay down on your side. We're going to continue to work that same leg. So I was working my right leg before, and I'm going to continue with that. You can either prop your head up or lay it right down on your arm. Either is fine. Draw your heels up the mat a little bit so your knees are bent. And try to get it to feel like your head, your heart, your hips, and your heels are all in a line. And then you're going to open and close the knee. And this top hand is going to push down into the mat. The side of my hip is pushing down. My hand is pushing down. And the side of my rib cage is also gently pushing down. I inhale as my knee opens. And try to let my lungs widen as my knee opens, so it feels like my lungs also mirror the movement of my leg. Let's have 3 and 2. And then the legs will come back together. You'll roll onto your back. Cross your right leg over your left. Reach through the gap. Hold onto the back of your leg. And give your glute a stretch. Okay, uncross the legs, but keep them lifted into this tabletop position, hands behind your head. And we're now going to have a set of ab preps. I'm going to have a bit of a fidget, get myself on a back. My pelvis is down. My head is heavy to my hands. And my rib cage is drawing down into the floor to help create lift. So the back of the pelvis is dropping down, the intestines are dropping down, and the rib cage base is dropping down. It's really difficult to talk. And all of those down drops create a head lift. So see if you can focus your attention into creating the down drops, hips, butts, low ribs. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower yourself back down. Give your knees a hug. And if you want to, you can keep hold of that hug, lift your head and shoulders, and roll like a ball all the way up to seated. If that's not going to work for you, just lean to the side and push yourself up. A spine stretch forwards. And curl all the way back up to seated. Exhale as you reach. Inhale as you uncurl. Working with your own body and noticing where bits are. Trying to find your sit bone push to lengthen yourself forward. So we reach with the arms, but really the sit bones push us forward. And curling all the way back up. Here's your last one. And we're back up to seated. Let your arms rest. Spin your legs around. And we're back in 4-point kneeling. Get my hair out of the way. We're going to come down onto forearms. And then when you're ready, your left leg will slide out behind you. And you're going to lift and lower. Like before. Pushing into the ground with your arms and your knee. 4 more like this. Trying to work on the straightness of that reaching leg. Pulling the kneecap up. Reaching the foot away. Last one, and then we're going to hold the next one out behind us and hamstring curl and straighten and curl and straighten. Four and 3 and 2 and 1, and then the next one holds and we donkey kick the ceiling. Up it goes, down it comes. And then we've got 4 more and 3 and 2 and 1. And then let the leg come down underneath you. Sit back. Lay down on your side with your left leg on top. head propped up or head lying down, doesn't really matter. Line the body up, head, heart, hips, heels. Draw the heels up the mat, and then oyster, open and closed. And then just taking a moment to try and feel the mat underneath you, hips pressing down. I like to try and tidy one piece at a time. So I'll give a few repetitions to that weighty sensation in my hip. And then my hand presses down, and I'll give a few repetitions to finding that. And then my lower ribs are going to press down as well. And this is the harder one, I think. So we're going to do a few repetitions to help us feel that sense of leaning just a little bit on our rib cage. And all three of those gentle pushes are going to help push the knee up. Inhale as the leg rises. Exhale as it comes back down, and it feels like the lung mirrors the movement of the leg. So we try to get the lung to open out and then close back in. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Legs together. Roll onto your back. And then cross your leg over your right and pull in for a stretch. And then feet to the ground and some shoulder bridges to finish. So arms by your sides, feet pressing down, pelvic tilt, and then lift the hips up. And uncurl all the way back down. And then let's repeat that a few times, using the feet to lift up your hips. Uncurling all the way back down, pelvic tilt, hips rise, and lower. 4 more, and down, and 3, and down, and 2, and down. And on this last one, you're going to hold at the top. So you rise up and hold, take your arms overhead, leave them there, and as you uncurl down, see if you can get the stretch to go right through your torso. And you'll get a good stretch through your armpits and the sides of your waist. Bring your arms back down by your sides, roll over onto your front into a child's pose. Tuck your toes under and stretch the soles of your feet. And lean back on it a little bit. Walk your hands back towards your knees and then towards your feet. And then let the soles of your feet come down onto the mat. Push your legs straight. Hips go to the ceiling. Tailbone under, roll all the way back up to standing. Give yourself a moment to find your balance. And then when you're ready, lean onto the toes, push the toes down, lift the heels up. I'm so glad of this beam. You can just hold on to it. There we go. Circle around with the arms. Let the heels come down. Shoulder roll and an arm shake to finish. Thank you for joining me today. And I'll see you next week. Bye.